Tiffany here with Crafty Creations. Today's project is for Pajama Crafter Stamp, and I'm going to be using two of their products. One is these Bake It Off Flashcards. So these are really neat because they are prepped and ready to go for some foiling, and you can use like your ink machine or laminator, whatever you have for hot foiling. And it comes with two flashcards each. And you don't have to use them for foiling, but they are there for that option. You can leave it black if you want. It's a pretty solid black. And then I'm using Bruno the beekeeper, which I think it's funny because I didn't know that they named the bear, because normally I think it's just like a beekeeper stamp set, but when I was looking at it, I was like, it's Bruno the beekeeper. So I thought that was really cute, and that made me like it even more. So I'm pretty much just going to take this foiling flashcard and do some green foiling because I'm going to be doing a little scene with Bruno and some bees and some honey. The card, it's like it said, it's a bake-off card set. But I think many people like to lick the honey off a spoon, so I thought that would be still a fitting phrase to go with this scene that I'm going to be doing. As you saw at the beginning, I'm going to be making a little sign with these two collections. So now, every time you get a new stamp set, you got to prep your stamp, and usually I have a towel nearby in which I would rub the stamp with a towel, but it wasn't nearby, and for doing the video and being slightly lazy, I just used my hand to rub the stamp to get it prepped for ink. It's best to prep your stamp before you ink it. The ink sticks better, and from what I understand is because when it comes out from the manufacturer, there's just kind of some residual on it from whatever their manufacturing process is. And so it's just best to prep your stamp by wiping it down before stamping with it, and then the ink will adhere better. And that is true. I have found that. So I highly recommend. And then after I kind of get my scene kind of figured out for what I'm going to do, I stamped onto the actual card panel. And when I was doing this, I actually was going to make a card, so I actually trimmed the card panel down to 4 by 5 1/4. That's usually the size that I do like my main part of a card. But then I was like, why am I going to do a card? I have like so much bee stuff. I had a cat named Bee, and so bee stuff always reminds me of her, and I have a lot of it. And so I was like, I have lots of bee stuff. I'm going to make something other than a card. So I probably could have left the panel the original size, but I didn't. I trimmed it down. And now I'm just taking my Copic markers to color in the images. Nothing super fancy, just my typical normal coloring with Copic markers. And I actually, when I started coloring the bees, I started coloring them backwards. Like, I had kind of figured out, you know, black, yellow, and then the other two I started doing yellow, black, and that wasn't going to work because that meant I was going to have to color the face black, which then you wouldn't see any of its eyes. So I kind of had to recolor it, and luckily the gray and the black colored right over the yellow just fine. So no problems there. I'm just using some brown tones and making some kind of bark coloring to it. I will take my fine liner pen later and kind of draw in some of that bark. I usually do my fine liners on all of my colorings, but this one I really didn't think that it was necessary. I think the coloring kind of did its job. I did use a green one to draw some lines on the leaves, but not all of the leaves. So some of them now look a little different than the other ones. I also used the liner to write honey on the honey pots, just so because they have labels on them, so you might as well write honey on them because that's what they're going to be full of in this beekeeper set. So anyway, I finish up coloring the bear, Bruno, in just different brown tones, dark to light, light to dark. It's kind of how I do my colorings, just to get some saturation so that they will kind of blend together and create those shadows and those highlights. After this, I mean, it's pretty much just coloring. I did color the beehive, and it actually, like, my dark color wasn't quite dark enough, and so I probably should have done a little bit darker on there to give it more of the contrast between the two. But overall, it doesn't come out too terribly bad, and still looks like a beehive to me. And if I was to do it again, I would actually probably bring my liner in and do like some stippling dots, which is another way to create shading, is by stippling. And that is, you do kind of heavy dots in the darkest part of the shadow, and then you take dots and kind of spread them out to create the lighter part of the shadow. I probably should have done something like that to give it a little more interest, and the beehive would have also given it like texture, because beehives are very textured because of what they're made out of. So that's kind of like a missed opportunity for me. I could probably always go back and do it, but I probably won't. But in the future, if you wanted to get this stamp set and color it, that's what I would suggest doing. And perhaps I will in the future if I use this stud again. And here I am just trying to finish up those bees. I did take my liner and draw little flying dash lines like you typically see coming from bees. Because why not? I mean, they're clearly flying. So I thought I would go ahead and do that. After I get everything all colored, then I gotta bring out all of the things that we're going to use to bring this all together. Oh, also what I did with my fine liner, and I don't know that I put it in the video because I don't remember, but I actually took a black liner pen and I created kind of a drop shadow on the words, and I outlined the spoon in black, because unless you're looking at it like straight on or at an angle, it's kind of a little hard to read because of the color I'm using. Well, in the video, because I'm doing a downward view and it's getting a lot of reflection in it, so you're having a hard time reading it. So by me doing that drop shadow on it, just gave it a little more interest, but also helps it to stand out even more. So that's what I do also with the foiling sentiment. So here I'm just putting like those dash lines on the leaves, and I did maybe about every other leaf. I didn't want all of them to be like that because I wanted it to, one, give it some texture and interest, but not be all of them, because I feel like for some reason that texture kind of makes it stand out a little more by them not all being that way. It's like your eye gets focused in on the ones with the lines because it's different than the one it's next to. I don't know, that's just what I find anyway. And believe it or not, when I did line the words in the spoon, it didn't really come out that good. For some reason, I was kind of shaky, and then I kind of lost sight of what side the line was supposed to be on. So, you know, if you do that, just take your time a little bit better than I did. It still came out good, and it still accomplished what it intended to accomplish. So, just a thought there for anyone trying to draw around the letters. After this, I think this is about it for the line work. I didn't do a whole lot. Like I said, I'm going to write the word honey on these pots, and then I'll probably get to starting to pull this together. Now, when we get to the part where we're going to start pulling it together, and the only thing I actually fussy cut was the bear and the 2 honey pots. Everything else is just staying on the card as is, because the bear and the honey pot is what I'm actually going to give dimension to. So what you're seeing here is the board back there is actually a cork board. And so I got it from IKEA, and it's actually like a hot pad, like that you would put a hot pot on or a hot casserole dish, and they're fairly inexpensive, and you get 2 in a pack, and I just find them really kind of interesting and different. They give a different texture. I keep saying the word texture a lot. I mean, it is textured, but it just gives it something a little bit different than using like a cutting board. And I thought for this one, it would be a really good use of the cork board style, because I mean, it kind of just reminds me of like the beehive looking thing. I don't know why, it just did. And I got a couple of these from IKEA. Like I said, they're really not that expensive. In fact, they will even take distress ink. So I have used these before in the past and have done distress spray on them in different colors, and it actually really does a good job of absorbing it. It does take some time to dry, maybe a little bit longer than I have patience for, but it's worth it. And then I got some glitter cardstock from my stash, and it's the old glitter, the kind that flakes off everywhere, that you have to use liquid glue for, because foam tape is not going to stick. Nothing's going to stick to it except liquid glue. But it's what I had, and I wanted sparkly black matting, so that's what I used. And it was too short, and I stuck it together. But since I have the panel over the top, no one will ever know, unless you watch the video and see that it was done that way and hear me say that I did that. But you can do that. I mean, no one's going to pay that close of attention, and it gets the job done. So, anyways, onward. These are die cuts from my stash. So, like I said, I have a lot of bee stuff because of my bee cat, and so I've just been collecting different things, and this is just a hexagon die. I don't know that it's necessarily meant to be like the, what is it called, the bee, the thing with the honeycomb. I don't think it's supposed to be technically like that because they're all different sizes, but I think it still serves its purpose. This is actually, I think it's a magnet, and I got it ages ago, probably 10 or 15 years ago, maybe. I don't know where, honestly. Maybe, I don't know. It's been in my stash forever, and it is actually metal. And I think that was a magnet on the inside of there. But I just got some glue. I don't know if it's going to hold. I got it. I was just using what I had on my desk, and it was just like fabric tack. I may need to use some E6000, so that might have to be fixed. I really didn't want to wait for E6000 to dry, so I just used the fabric tack. And then I got some other stuff from my stash. I got a flower, and then I have some bee dies that I cut out a couple bees from. And then there's actually a part in here that I did go into my stash after I finished the video and added a few more things because it needed it. So you can see that in the pictures on our social media account. So I just got some flowers from my stash. We're sticking with kind of a blue flower theme because the yellow on the metal flower has blue in there as its accent. So we're going to use blue as our accent and just add these on here. I will pop the big blue flower up because it's going to be hanging off of the edge of the panel, which is also raised up. So I have to raise the flower as well, otherwise it will look all wonky. Then we're gonna put these honey pots on here, and then something really fun that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring in some stuff to look like honey. But before I do that, I'll tell you what I did after I finished the video. I went and got some flat back pearls, and I added flat back pearls to the center of these flowers, because I know it's going to drive everybody crazy to watch me make this and finish it and not put any centers in there. But just be rest assured, there are centers in them now. So this is me adding some honey coming from the honey pot that Bruno, the beekeeper, is getting, taking advantage of it, pouring out of the, I called it a honey pot. It's not. It's the beehive. So this is just some Nuvo crystal. They're not crystal. They're just Nuvo drops in yellow. And then I got some gold glitter ones too. And they're kind of old, so they're kind of really giving me a fit to get it squeezed out. But I manage. And then I take just a pokey tool and kind of move it around, fill in the gaps. I take some and put it actually on the honey pot, because there's a part on the honey pot that shows that it's like flowing over and out of the pot. So I thought I needed to add some of this there too, in which I did. And I thought this was just like a very fun added touch because it's dimensional, and it actually looks like, you know, honey, and bears like honey. Well, he likes honey. And so I thought it'd be just fun to add that as a extra character to this. But once I get this part done, it dries, and then I'm gonna put the rest of the flowers on and the bees, and that's pretty much gonna wrap up this project. I think it came out really cute. I think it was a good use of the sentiment, life is short, lick the spoon, and we got a honey bear and his honey pots and some bees, and I just thought this was overall just a little fun thing you could put in your kitchen or wherever you want to put something like this. But anyways, that's pretty much gonna do it for this video. I hope you liked it, and if you did, please like and subscribe. You can leave a comment if you want to know anything about this video, or if I need to elaborate more on what I've done in certain parts. Just leave a comment and we'll get back to you. And then if you like this stamp and the flashcards, run on over to Pajama Crafter Stamps and check out what they have, because they have a lot of really cute, adorable stamps that are just very fun to work with. They have more than stamps too. It's not just stamps. They have, like I said, these flashcards. They have like sequence embellishments, things like that. So there's a lot more there. Pattern paper. They actually have some bee pattern paper too that would go really well with this. So, oh, no, I don't put the pearls on the flowers till after. I think I put the pearls on as accents, and then I don't know, maybe I put them on the flowers here. But if you don't see me doing that, know that I did. Anyways, head on over to Pajama Crafter Stamps and check out what they have. And if you like any of it, there will be some links in the description below, and you're welcome to use those. And I hope that you enjoy the video, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.